You're standing at the edge of a tall building. There's a railing in front of you. You are completely safe. But your body doesn't believe it. Your palms go damp. Your knees feel loose. Something in your stomach drops. You think you're afraid of heights. But the truth is far stranger than that. You're not afraid of the height itself. You're afraid of a fall that hasn't happened, and statistically, never will. Think about it for a moment. Most people who fear heights have never actually fallen from one. You've never plunged from a cliff. You've never dropped from a tower. So where does this terror come from, if not from experience? The answer was hiding in a laboratory in 1960. A psychologist named Eleanor Gibson built something strange. She called it the visual cliff. It was a glass table, and beneath the glass, a checkered floor that suddenly dropped away into a deep gap. To the eye, it looked like the edge of a cliff. But the glass made it perfectly safe to crawl across. Then she placed babies on it. Babies who had never fallen. Babies who had never been hurt by a height in their lives. And almost every single one of them stopped at the edge. They refused to crawl over the drop, even when their own mothers called to them from the other side. Then she tried it with animals. Kittens. Baby chicks. Newborn goats. Every one of them froze at the edge of the visual cliff. None of them had to learn that falling was dangerous. They already knew. This is the part that should unsettle you. The fear of heights isn't taught to you. It's installed in you. You were born carrying a piece of ancient software, written long before you existed. But here's a detail most people miss. That fear isn't switched on at birth. The psychologist Joseph Campos discovered something remarkable. Babies only begin to fear the visual cliff around the time they learn to crawl. It's as if the body waits. It holds the fear in reserve, then activates it at the exact moment you become able to move toward danger. The instinct doesn't arrive a day too early. It arrives precisely when you need it. The body has been keeping you alive on a schedule you never agreed to. To understand who wrote that schedule, you have to go back. Far back, to a time when your ancestors lived in the trees. For tens of millions of years, primates like us made their homes high in the canopy. Up there, food was plentiful and predators were fewer. But there was one rule that never bent. If you fall, you die. There were no hospitals. No safety nets. No second chances. A single misjudged branch meant the end of your story, and the end of your bloodline. And so evolution did what evolution always does. It kept the careful ones. The ancestors who felt that lurch of fear near an edge pulled back, and survived, and had children. The ones who felt nothing stepped confidently into open air, and vanished from history. Every human being alive today is descended from the ones who were afraid. The neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent his career mapping this circuit. He found that fear doesn't begin in the thinking part of your brain. It begins deeper, in a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This region reacts to danger before your conscious mind even knows what is happening. That's why the fear feels so fast. By the time you think you're safe because there's a railing, your body has already responded. Your heart is already pounding. Your legs have already gone weak. The ancient part of you doesn't trust the railing. It has never heard of railings. But here's where it gets even stranger. Your fear of heights isn't only about falling. It's also about how your body quietly reads the world to stay upright. Researchers found that people who fear heights rely more heavily on their eyes to keep their balance. When you stand on solid ground, you balance using 3 systems at once. Your inner ear. The sensors buried in your muscles. And your vision. But up high, your eyes lose their anchor. The ground is too far to read, the horizon seems to tilt, and suddenly your brain has nothing stable to hold on to. So it panics. It feels as if you are swaying, even when you are standing perfectly still. This is why looking down makes everything worse. You're feeding your brain the exact information it cannot process. Your fear isn't irrational. It's your balance system screaming that it has lost its map. And then there is the strangest part of all. Have you ever stood somewhere high and felt a sudden, bizarre urge to jump? Not because you are sad. Not because any part of you wants to. Just a flickering thought that comes from nowhere and frightens you deeply. You are not alone, and you are not broken. In 2011, a researcher named Jennifer Hames studied this exact sensation. She called it the high place phenomenon. And what she found was almost the opposite of what people fear about it. That urge is not a hidden death wish. It is a survival signal misfiring. Your brain fires a lightning-fast alarm, step back, danger, and it arrives so quickly that your slower conscious mind misreads the message. The pull you feel isn't really toward the edge. It is the echo of a warning that screamed at you to retreat. Now look at what we have built on top of this ancient alarm. We raise glass towers 1,000 feet into the sky. In China, millions of people travel to walk across glass-bottomed bridges suspended over deep canyons. We have turned a survival instinct into entertainment, and we pay money to feel it. A mild fear of heights is almost universal. It lives, to some degree, in nearly all of us. For about 1 in 20 people, it grows into something sharper, something that can shrink the size of a life. But even in its gentlest form, it is doing the same quiet job it has always done. It is the voice of every ancestor who ever clung to a branch and lived. So think about what is really happening when you freeze at a height. You are not weak. You are not foolish. You are feeling the accumulated wisdom of 100 million years of survival, compressed into a single cold second. Your body is running a calculation older than language, older than fire, older than the human face. The next time you stand somewhere high and feel yourself go cold, notice what your body is doing. It is not failing you. It is protecting you, in the only way it has ever known. That railing might be made of steel. But the fear holding you back is older than steel, older than cities, older than humankind itself. You were never truly afraid of the height. You were always afraid of the fall, and that fear is the reason you are alive to feel it.